As an atheist, you don't believe in God. So that's the reason I'm asking you, because we know that the universe does exist.
Then we actually can't even discuss it because we can't comprehend it. The way
So my friends here, I believe they are atheists, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I think the question that we wanted to discuss was how or where did the universe come from? We know that the universe exists, and we know that everything that exists, it must have a cause. Yes,
Well,
the cause and effect.
The question we're not here to debate where the universe came from.
Yeah.
We were having a debate with somebody about, I think they believed in God and they were telling us why God existed. And at one point they asked us where we think the universe came from, and we said we don't know the exact. And we started explaining why.
Fair enough, yeah. So, obviously, because as an atheist, you don't believe in God. So that's the reason I'm asking you, because we know that the universe does exist.
Yes.
You and I accept that.
Yes.
Okay, that premise. But you also exist. I exist. The universe exists. Everything in the universe that we know exists. So obviously,
most of the stuff I believe exists.
Yeah, and all these things which exist did not come about by themselves.
The stuff in the universe, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
The universe itself did not. Do you think it came about by itself, or is that a possibility?
Well, hey, dude.
This is where we get into the difficulties of how the universe came about, maybe outside of our comprehension. We were saying to somebody earlier that as humans, the way we comprehend things is we'll say, okay, everything has a start and a finish. That's generally how we comprehend things. Okay,
Right.
But the way that the universe works may work on a completely different premise. For example, we say, how long ago did the universe start? Right, so we're using time.
Yeah.
But maybe the way the universe starts has nothing to do with time, nothing to do with start and a finish. And so the very idea of where did the universe begin may be completely wrong to...
So you think there is a possibility the universe is eternal?
No. What I'm saying, no, this is what I'm saying. As humans, just like an ant, if there was an ant on my hand, that ant might not comprehend that I exist, or probably cannot even comprehend, as in it's impossible for that ant to think that I exist and I'm looking at it. Maybe it's impossible for us to comprehend.
Why? Why is it
Oh,
impossible for us to comprehend that the universe had a beginning?
Because maybe,
just that point, that the universe had a beginning. Do you believe it had a beginning, or it
what I'm
existed
saying is
eternally?
that maybe the way...
go on.
Say, make a first of all, the premise, what you do to a degree is you're looking at a lot of rules which totally apply in the universe. But then when you're talking about the beginning of the universe and the start of the universe, you have to talk about stuff which is totally outside of our experience, which might not operate in the same way. Which is to say that things out inside the universe, that's where we are. Everything might require a beginning and an end. When you get to the universe itself, you're not talking about stuff inside the universe anymore. The totally different rules might apply. Hey man, definitely. The other thing is true. Maybe it's eternal, dude. People believe that back in the day, and dude, we just totally don't know about shit which goes.
No, but the scientists have given us even an approximate date about 14 billion years old.
Yeah.
So that tells us that the universe has a beginning, and it is now expanding. So these things, look. The scientists have actually come. Just 1 second. The scientists have already told us that the universe is expanding. We don't need to be.
The scientists.
We don't need. I think it is the majority. The majority of them. Look it up. The majority of them have come to the
consensus in science is that how the universe began.
No, I'm talking about expansion. The universe is expanding. So this brother here is saying that you don't need. We are not inside. We are not in. Sorry, because we are inside the universe, so we cannot understand the whole of the universe, how it operates. But they have told us the age of the universe, approximately, obviously. They have told us that the universe is expanding. They told us several things about the Big Bang. They told us about the earliest possibilities of what things were during the earliest stages of the universe coming into existence, and so on. And these are hypotheses. These are theories. I'm not denying that, but they can substantiate it scientifically. So we are not talking about all those nitty-gritty bit. All I'm saying is that, look, if we narrow it down to the cause of the universe, do you think it could have come from nothing by itself, popping out of nothing?
That is the fundamental difference in our argument that I don't think we're being able to put across correctly, okay?
Yeah.
The whole point is that our belief is that we cannot think in the context of something and nothing, beginning, end, time, with what Max was saying, because you're dealing with the creation of the universe. The rules that we use right now may totally not apply. So the rules,
something coming from nothing, that is quite axiomatic.
Something coming from nothing, you're still working within the rules of the context of how the universe works. It's totally
These
possible.
are scientific rules, cause and effect.
No, but
they're pretty scientific.
Science is literally like a process of deduction and discovery, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Which is to say that
it is a scientific approach.
It's 100% based on induction, which is to say not deduction and logic, which is the other thing, which is to say that it's 100% based on phenomena which has happened inside the universe.
Okay, so let me get this right. Are you saying
outside the universe?
Okay, let me get this. Are you saying there's a possibility for the universe to come from nothing?
Yeah, I'm saying.
Okay, do you know what nothing is?
That's the thing is
no, wait, I want to know from him because he said it. That's his claim.
Look, you asked me to defend a random possibility.
No, there's no random possibility. Do you think nothing even exists?
You can define nothing in a number of ways. It depends on what you mean by nothing. Right?
How do you define it?
How do I define it? Again, what I'm saying is that you can define nothing in a number of different ways. You could say.
Go on, give it a shot. No, I'm serious.
You're missing the point of what I'm saying.
I'm not.
Okay.
Because you said there is a possibility for it to come from nothing.
Yeah.
Hence, I asked you, let's define nothing. Because as far as I'm concerned, nothing doesn't even exist. Right. It's a concept.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
What do you mean that's fine?
Okay. No, I mean,
if it doesn't exist, how can something non-existence?
No, I'm saying I'll define it for you. So
okay, go on, define it.
Okay, let's say no space and no time as nothing. How about that?
What about energy?
Okay, no energy too.
Okay, does it exist?
Yeah, you could.
Not you could. It's you. Remember?
Okay, let's say it doesn't exist.
No, not let's say. Are you sure it does exist or doesn't exist?
Oh well,
you're not sure.
We already said that our position is we don't know.
So you don't know if nothing even exists or not.
It could easily not exist now.
So something that doesn't have weight, doesn't occupy space or time or even energy, is there such a thing?
As in, like, also it doesn't have volume.
What if I told you it was just a concept, and it's in order for us?
Totally be just the concept. I mean, like in the sense that there's no, we can't touch that sort of stuff.
Okay, let me define nothing, and you tell me if you agree. Okay, right? To me, nothing is the absence of everything.
Okay, this is the classic one we've heard before. I mean,
no, but do you agree or disagree with that?
It depends on what is included in everything, obviously.
Absence of everything. I'm not saying including everything. Absence of everything.
Okay, but
so anything that you can think of,
well, anything
that exists, is the absence of all that. That is what nothing is. Do you agree with that definition or do you disagree?
Okay,
and if you disagree, tell me why.
Okay,
so we're getting into the typical speaker's corner thing of like, what about this little intricacy of nothing?
What did you expect when you came to speaker's corner? Something other than speaker's corner?
We said to you, but as in, it always happens.
Come on, it's part of critical thinking, you know?
No, but this is the thing, is we've gone outside of the main point. And the main point we're saying to you is, we don't have to start explaining to you like where it came from, start, beginning, and finish, because we've said to you from the very start that what we're saying is, the reason we may not be able to explain how it started is because maybe the way that it started may be outside of our brain's ability to comprehend.
No, but is it...
So if we cannot comprehend it, then we actually can't even discuss it because we can't comprehend it. The way our brain works, and our brain works on everything having a start, a finish, and we understand the concept of nothing, like you're saying, something where there isn't anything. All these things that are based on our everyday experience, the framework where we form ideas. Maybe the way that the universe was created is completely outside of that rule. Okay,
why is that?
Why?
That's the thing I'm asking you, because the universe is something from the naturalistic world. It is something that exists, which we already agreed upon earlier.
Yeah.
Why would the rules apply differently to something that exists?
I mean, a lot of
then than everything else that exists.
A lot of people now are saying that the universe is a simulation. We're inside of a simulation. Yeah?
Do you believe that?
I don't know. I'd probably
Yeah,
not.
so let's not take
No,
pseudoscience. No, wait. Let's not agree. It is pseudoscience. Come on.
No, but a lot of credible people are saying that.
Really? Give me one credible scientist who said this is an illusion.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is a credible scientist about the universe.
Huh? I mean, you asked me for a credible scientist.
No, credible scientist
No, hang on a sec,
in
you
terms
asked
of
me for a credible scientist.
credible scientists in the field of astronomy.
Oh, well, in that case, I don't know.
Exactly. So let's go with the experts rather than people who are just who believe that they are an illusion.
No, but
Okay.
hang on a sec. So, what we're talking about.
If you earlier you said it's beyond our scope to understand these
Yes,
things.
yeah.
I asked him the definition of nothing. Is that beyond your scope or is that within your scope?
No. This is the thing. Is that's why this conversation gets to a dead end. Okay.
No, it doesn't.
Because,
It doesn't.
Because you
It
start
can be
to
totally beyond our scope, which is to say that
The term nothing. Wait. If the term nothing is beyond your scope, then I think everything is beyond your scope.
Dude, an extra
You know why?
universal
Because that is one of the most.
Hang on. Yeah, I'll answer.
Yeah.
like an
Go on.
extra universal nothing, a nothing which is a nothing total, it's divorced from every
Non-existent.
stuff
It's
which happens
non-existent.
outside the universe,
Yeah.
dude. Like it can be totally outside our scope because we have absolutely no idea what it would be and what it would entail. You know,
Well, are you talking about nothing still?
I'm still talking about nothing.
Seriously. So you really think that nothing is something?
What do you mean?
Okay. What is your definition of nothing? I will let you know.
So I agree with your definition of nothing. What you said of nothing is where there isn't anything.
It's absence of everything.
The absence of
Yeah.
everything.
In fact, I believe and I know actually that nothing doesn't exist. It's a concept. It's like infinity. Do you think infinity exists?
Yeah, I agree. It's a concept. Like it's a concept. Nothing.
So in mathematics we represent nothing with zero. Yes? And infinity with the symbol infinity.
Yeah.
Yes? So this is in order for us to communicate, in order for us to formulate things, in order for us,
Yeah.
it is a means of communication, it means for us to represent certain things. Yes? It's basically language.
Yeah.
So if anyone says that, oh, hold on, actually nothing could be something, then they do not understand nothing. And that's the reason I asked you, one of the ways to actually rule out that the universe came from nothing would be to identify what nothing is. Because if it doesn't exist, then it cannot bring about something that does exist.
Okay.
Okay? And I think that is within our scope.
Okay.
Okay? That's all I'm saying. So if we rule out nothing, then what remains is it must have come from something or by itself, or it was existing eternally. These are the possibilities I can think of. I don't know if you want to add more possibilities.
So I agree.
Then go ahead. Yeah.
Within the way we comprehend things, all of that makes sense. But that's the whole point. Is things that we can't comprehend is things that we physically could not discuss because we could not comprehend them.
Yeah. So we cannot comprehend things about. For example, if you're coming purely from a scientific background and only from the belief in a naturalistic world, then you will deny everything that is metaphysical.
What does
Subboor,
metaphysical mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's metaphysical?
Metaphysical is something that is beyond the physical world. By the way, this is Brother Subboor is quite an expert in this field, much better than me. That's why I called him. So what I'm saying is that because if you believe in a naturalistic world, then everything beyond. For example, do you believe you have consciousness?
I mean, that's a whole other conversation in terms
I know.
what consciousness
No, but
is.
I want to show you an example of a metaphysical entity which you have no option but to believe. You know why?
So you're asking me if I believe it, if I have consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm conscious in the sense that I make decisions that I think are my own. I'm probably conscious.
Good. What about you?
I reckon so, but hey, no, man, you could have the other scenario.
The thing is that we're getting into this intricate conversation, which is fine, but the context of why we said when someone asked us, do we believe in the universe? When someone asked us, do we believe in the universe? We said we don't know is because we were having a debate as to whether God exists and our reasons for being atheists, right? So if we start this whole conversation into all these intricacies of why we believe, whatever, then we need to remember the context of where we were saying that.
Yeah. So as the brother just said, we are discussing about the universe, its existence, trying to understand whether this is within the scope of us as human beings to ponder into that kind of conversation, and also whether we also discussed briefly about whether it came from something or nothing. So this is where we are at present. If you want to add something to that.
What's your name, sorry?
Alexi.
And Max. My name is Subboor. So, are you guys like atheists or agnostics? Like, what's your
I'd probably say atheist because I don't believe in God.
Yeah, so like the classic thing to do is the Dawkins thing, which is to say, the agnostic atheist, which is to say, like, you don't believe there's a God, which is to say you're an atheist, but obviously, dude, like you can't know everything for certain. So, so you could be an agnostic atheist in that.
Sure. And like you mentioned Dawkins and agnostic atheism, but I'm assuming you've read some of his stuff. You're familiar with.
I've read some of his stuff. Yeah,
sure. Now, have you read The God Delusion?
I read it like years ago.
Okay. So the central argument in The God Delusion, which sort of captures the main sort of argument that atheists have today, which is that biological design is an illusion, right? So biological design, we can no longer say is due to God. They would say is due to biological evolution, and then they would make an extrapolation for the universe and say the universe is likely not to be designed either, right? So the central argument of the God delusion is God most probably doesn't exist. So it's that type of agnostic atheism. About that, what's your view on that point?
With regards to like biological evolution, I buy it. I think the variety of species on Earth is likely the result of natural selection. Basically, with regards to the universe, like there's a level on which you can apply that, which is to say that stuff which has a hard time, which there's a level which that might apply to the universe, which is to say that like you would expect, for instance, one thing is much more rare than another thing, or like one type of like organization of planets, dominates another sort, then this might lead to a predominance of one sort over another. I'm totally sketchy on like Darwinian evolution applying to stuff outside of the origin of various different species.
Okay. And about his point where he makes God and biological evolution mutually exclusive. What's your view on that?
God and biological evolution are not God, which is to say depends on how you define God. Obviously, you could have maybe Thor doesn't mix with it, but you could have a God which is like a creator God, or which was compatible with biological evolution. Yeah, you could do that.
Okay. So would you sort of be sympathetic to him that he sees biological evolution undermining the existence of God, the traditional arguments for the existence of God, such as design?
So, like, my understanding is, it might undermine specific gods, which is to say that, like, there are traditions and religious traditions which specifically deny biological evolution. Certain sects of Protestantism will definitely do that, and therefore you could say that, well, we've observed this thing, or this is a very sensible theory, then this puts serious doubt in these particular theories. So, but depending on, but when it comes to design, obviously you could have your God, depending on your conception of him, who's guides and directs evolution, for example.
Sure. See, that's a very good point, because one of the issues that exists with Dawkins' view is that he tries to make it as if it's God or evolution, but like you rightly pointed out, you can have a view in which God and biological evolution is compatible. But the biggest problem with his actual view is the way that he projects biological biological evolution and Darwinian evolution in particular to be something unassailable, right? To be something undeniable. But for example, you mentioned natural selection being the main mechanism of biological evolution, right? Are you aware of other mechanisms that there's actually challenges to biological evolution?
Yeah, I've heard some guys talk about, I've heard mathematical exceptions to Darwinian natural selection. I'm not an expert on the science of this, that, and the other, but I am aware that, not every super smart chap, thinks, Darwinian natural selection is like 100% exactly how it happened all the way from the start to the finish. But hey, dude, I'm no expert.
Yeah. So the main point which I'm trying to get across is that his very simplistic view pits God and evolution against each other is something that we should be very skeptical of.
But we have no relation to Dawkins. Like, for me, I don't buy. I've heard Dawkins before, but as far as I'm concerned, maybe he just wants to sell books, so he just says controversial stuff.
Yeah.
So you don't consider him as an authority in this field?
When it comes to Dawkins, I've heard him, and when I was younger, I listened to it. But thinking about it, it really, in no way plays a part in my thinking of God not existing.
So, I'll take up the.
You sounded like a fan earlier.
Hey dude, I listened to him, and hey dude, if you're talking about God and atheism, you're gonna hear Dawkins name eventually, and hey dude, I'll take up your challenge just to say that, like, when it comes to biology, it's way more than me. He's a very smart chap. He's smarter than me. I don't know. I'm sure you guys are way smarter than him. But what I'm saying is that when it comes to
we're not
biology,
saying that. It's just.
What I'm saying is that, I'll take him as an authority in biology. You guys says something about biology, I'm not going to straight up say, that's bullshit, unless I have a really good reason.
Yeah, the point I was trying to get across is that these types of very simplistic narratives, they're very popular. Like you mentioned, he's very popular.
Sure.
But when you break it down and you look at it philosophically, a lot of it doesn't make any sense. So the biological argument for God's existence based upon design is not undermined by Darwinian evolution. This is a common misconception.
Loads of people, surely, I've never had an issue with, I've never thought that the idea of God and evolution clash. For me, that's never even done it. But for me, it's totally outside that remit. I'm not looking at evolution somehow suggesting God doesn't exist. I'm saying nobody. The reason.
Okay, so that's a good segue for the design argument using biology, right? So if you look at the design of the human body, and if you look at the way that we are well adapted to our environment, and we also adapt the environment to our needs, this intricate system is calling out for a designer. So how do you explain that as an atheist?
Why does it mean that it's calling out for a designer?
Yeah, so let me just add in quickly here, which is to say that, on the intelligent design argument, right, definitely, a very classic intelligent pre-Darwin, intelligent design argument, could be fall down in areas because they haven't taken into account evolution, and on the regards to the human body, having I don't wish to assume anything, but if you're talking about stuff like the eye is so great and complex and things work very well and it's mechanically very sensibly designed, you can say by providing stuff like evolutionary mechanisms for how these sorts of things can happen, and providing an argument for why an intelligent designer might not be necessary for various things. You do argue against an intelligent design, specific intelligent design arguments. The other aspect is, with regards to intelligent design, you could have a million different intelligent designs, which is to say that the design that we have right now is not necessarily the most obvious and best. So if you have one of the things would be why is the eagles can see much further than human beings, for example, right? Other animals have various other better traits. Whales basically don't get cancer. You can have theoretically better design that a super intelligent designer could have, right? So I'm not sure. I don't buy the intelligent design argument. You can use evolution to argue against specific intelligent design arguments, which use specific examples.
So I agree with some of what you're saying, but there's one part I disagree with what you said.
Sure.
Now, when you spoke about optimality or the best possible, the problem is anybody can look at any particular design and say this is bad design, and someone else can say this is good design. So, for example, you could argue why is it that the deer, it doesn't have it doesn't have the ability to turn its legs into machine and fight off lions, or why don't we have bulletproof skin? So we can keep doing this. So you see, perfection is a very slippery term.